What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another extremely important Palantir update to bring all of you tonight. So this morning, Palantir released their earnings, and there was a lot of important information that the company disclosed that is going to be very important for investors going forward. Specifically, we received some more insight into the strategic investments that Palantir has been making, and these investments into the electric aviation company Lillium, and a couple of these other investments that they have made were kind of out of nowhere. We really didn't know what exactly Palantir was planning on doing with these investments, but after this earnings report, we finally have some more insight. So we have a lot to go over in total in this earnings report, so make sure you guys stick around so you are caught up on everything that has happened with Palantir today. Now, before we get into all of that information, if you guys would like to earn 2 free stocks with Webull, valued up to $1,850, make sure you check out that link down below in my description. All you have to do is sign up for an account, deposit over $100, and you get access to those 2 free stocks. Now, when we're looking at the chart of Palantir, we can see that this morning we had a massive sell-off when the numbers originally came out, and then we just began this massive rally up. You can see all of these big green candles, and at the current time that I'm recording, Palantir is just hovering over the $20 mark. Now, this $20 mark is a pretty substantial psychological level. Previously, a lot of people thought $20 was going to be the floor for Palantir, and that was going to hold as strong support. But we have seen over the past couple of weeks, Palantir actually dipped down below these that $20 mark and actually went as low as $18 a share. And on this significant sell-off, we even saw it get into the $16 range. Now, when we come over to the option chain for Palantir, there is still a lot of bullish sentiment on this company in the short term. Now, in my opinion, I'm not buying any short-term options contracts for Palantir anymore. I think the time to play options in the short term for Palantir has kind of passed. The last time that we really hit a big play on Palantir was in January after their first demo day, but I really think that if you are going to trade options on Palantir, some deep in the money leap contracts or some substantially out of the money leaps, give yourself some time on these options contracts so you do not get burned. But in general, I think just holding shares, continuously dollar cost averaging into Palantir is going to be an incredibly good idea for the future. Now, we did receive some more insight into what Palantir's future actually looks like. But before we get into all of that, I want to go over some more institutional ownership that we have been able to witness for Palantir. So we do have a lot of these green rows right here, and the green rows indicate new positions. The red rows indicate closed positions. So we do see a bit of a mix, but we can see here that Oppenheimer actually upped their position in the first quarter of 2021 by 100%. That is always a good sign to see. But again, we did see BlackRock actually sell about 71% of their overall position, and I think it was B. Riley Securities. It might have been B. Riley or a different institution. I'm not exactly sure at this current time, but they also liquidated their entire portfolio of Palantir shares. So it was actually Bailey Gifford right here, as we can see, not B. Riley, it was Bailey Gifford. So now let's go over and take a look at Palantir's earnings report. So this was a very interesting earnings call. There were a couple of questions asked in the Q&A. We're going to do another video later once the full transcript comes out. And one of the questions that I found very interesting was, why has Alex Karp been selling so many shares? And he basically came out and said everything that we already know, that every quarter he gets vested new options, and when he exercises these options, he has a tax obligation to fulfill. Now, these different headlines are going to come out over the next couple of years, as long as these options keep getting vested and he keeps exercising them, that he is going to keep selling some shares. Now, this is nothing to be scared about over the long term. If you look at Palantir's corporate structure, Alex Karp and the other co-founders, no matter what happens, are always going to own 49.99% of the company, and that is actually what one of these lawsuits that we have seen against Palantir is about. So now let's take a look further down. We can see that there's 1.5 million individual shareholders strong. That is always a good sign. And quarter one was a record-breaking quarter, and here is why. So they had a 44% adjusted free cash flow margin. Always good to see. Now we come down here, 49% revenue growth year over year. So that is comparing Palantir's first quarter of 2021 to Palantir's first quarter of 2020. We can see over here that they brought in $229 million in the first quarter of 2020, and now we are up to $341 $141 million in revenue in the first quarter of 2021. We are showing strong revenue growth, and as Alex Karp has said many times, they do not care about generating profits in the short term. They are doing everything in their ability to generate strong growth of the company over the long term, which in my opinion is amazing for long-term shareholders. It might not seem so in the short term, especially when we've seen all of these dips in the share price of Palantir, but the fact that they are focusing so much on creating a solid company over the long term, they actually said in the earnings call that they are very close to creating the next Skynet, which is what everybody has essentially called Palantir over the years. This is just all a great sign for the company. Now, here's another aspect that I want to bring to your guys' attention. So 240% billings growth year over year. And when we come down and zoom in and see exactly what this is, billings is defined as revenue plus the change in contract liabilities for the period presented. Please see the appendix for reconciliations of these non-GAAP financial measures. So GAAP is generally accepted accounting principles to the most directly comparable GAAP measure. So this is very interesting. They are increasing the revenue that they are getting from their existing clients. So not only is Palantir going out and adding to their already pretty strong customer base, they are also increasing the revenue that they are able to receive from their current customers. Now, a lot of people have come out and said, well, Palantir at the current time only has about 140, 150 customers, and that's not really a strong customer base. But Palantir actually said in their earnings call that they're working on getting more clients in the lower price point segments, which is going to spread them a little bit thinner, but is going to diversify their portfolio of clients, which I think is also a great sign for this company going forward. But you also have to really keep in mind that Palantir's earnings was honestly pretty average. They essentially just met all of their expectations. They exceeded some of the expectations, and then they raised their guidance. That is why we saw such an increase in the share price. It's not so much the actual metrics that they put out. It more has to do with the actual conference call and what the company is expecting to bring in for revenue in the future. Now, we see our duration adjusted commercial deal value grew by 76% year over year. So essentially what this is they're showing you that they are getting more revenue from these commercial deals, and they're adjusting for the amount of time that they are actually in contract for. This is a very good sign to see, especially since a lot of naysayers for Palantir have come out and said, well, they're really just a government contracting company and not much more than that. But this metric right here shows us that that is not really the case. I also want to bring you guys down a little bit further to this page right here. Now, this deal that Palantir entered into with Lillium, a revolutionary eVTOL transportation company, so it's basically going to be some electric aviation, will use Foundry to connect design, engineering, procurement, testing, production, quality, logistics, and in-service operations. So Palantir actually invested into this company through the SPAC that this company is going to be going public through. Now, when this deal first came out, it was out of left field. Everybody was like, why is Palantir investing in an electric aviation company when they could be putting all of that capital that they are spending on this company to good use at their own company in-house? Now, the reason for this, in my opinion, is Palantir is trying to get into the next generation of technology. Now, we've seen the electric car market absolutely explode, and if the electric aviation market starts to take hold and really starts to explode over the next couple of years, Palantir already has their foot in the door. And if their platforms are some of the main reasons why these different companies are able to succeed, all of the other different electric aviation companies are going to see this and want to join Palantir as a client. The next thing that I think is really important and is really a big bombshell for Palantir is that when we come over here, we can see that in Q1 of 2021 alone, we hired nearly 50 new salespeople. Previously in the past, Alex Karp was really the main individual doing the selling of Palantir's Foundry, Gotham, and a couple of their other platforms. Now they're going to have 50 new salespeople in charge of actually getting this software out into the market. Now, IBM and Palantir have some sort of relationship like this, where Palantir does have access to a sales team at IBM, but having their own sales team in-house, I think is going to benefit Palantir in a much greater way. Now, in my opinion, I think Alex Karp is still going to be the individual that is going to be closing all of these deals, because a lot of the time these deals are incredibly expensive and the technology is very complex. The fact that Alex Karp is a co-founder of this company and was a really early creator of this technology gives him the opportunity to be able to explain this technology in a simple way so the other business executives can understand and exactly how this technology is going to be benefiting their company. Now that we have 50 new salespeople, I think Alex Karp is going to be incredibly busy over the next couple of years. So that is going to conclude this update on Palantir. Again, I really love this company over the long term. The short-term dips do hurt, but that does not change anything about the fundamentals of this company going into the future. It seems like they have proved to us exactly what their value is in this market, and they have just proved that they're really looking to actually grow their business versus generating profits in the short term, which I think is unbelievable for a company that is in Palantir's position. So that is going to conclude this update. If you guys enjoyed the information and analysis that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So I hope you guys are having a very profitable day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.